What got me into the radio business and into the disc jockey or air talent, whatever you want to call it, business, I've always heard stories from my mother as a kid that whenever I was young, that I would imitate the news guy, Walter Cronkite or whoever we were listening to on the news. I was always imitating these people. And then there was a time whenever I was a little bit older that I would go into a closet, hit the house, and play like I was on the radio. Now, I don't remember any of this, but this is what my parents told me. But these things all kind of led to the next thing, which was after high school, I was a mechanic. I worked in the oil field doing oil field engine repair on big oil field type engines. And about 1983, 84, that oil field business declined heavily. And there I was out of work. And the story goes like this. I was walking through the mall one day and ran into a guy I used to work with, and he says, "Well, have you found any work yet?" And I told him, "No, I'm still unemployed." And he says, "Well, you ought to look into getting on the radio." He says, "You used to always complain and bitch and moan about the DJs on the radio while we're working. If you think you can do it better, you ought to go out there and get a job at the radio station." And he was kind of joking, but as he walked off, I thought, I ought to try that. Well, a couple of months later, there was an ad for a part-time help at the radio station here locally. Next thing I knew, I was hired to come in on Sunday morning at 5 a.m. and run syndication, which is pre-recorded radio. I did that for a number of years and then just slowly worked my way up, and within 10 years I was in Dallas. So it was kind of a quick, fun, crazy journey to get into radio. And if you had told me in high school that I would be doing radio at the age of 49, I would have told you no way. But it's the way it's turned out, and I can't complain. It's pretty fun. Radio has changed probably more than any media, maybe except possibly newspapers. We have gone from, there was a time where in radio you had to have a live person there in the studio just to keep the radio moving. You had to have people there continuing to hit the buttons, start the next element. There was a kind of a live, living, breathing element to a radio station. If there was no one in the building, in the station, being the air talent, being the disc jockey, it didn't happen. It ended, it stopped. Now we have the wonderful hard drive and computers that continue to keep the station rolling and flowing. You can pre-record radio nowadays. You can do it minutes ahead, you can do it days ahead. So it has gone from a situation where you had to have a live person in the station to keep it moving, to now being able to automate from anywhere, for anybody, at any time. Working with classic rock, which I've worked with classic rock for, golly, 20 years. Well, I've been a fan for my entire life, but working with radio for about 20 years. What we call current-based music, which is formats that are continually bringing in new songs and moving out old songs and doing that fine dance, what's hot, what's not, type thing. It has gone from a situation at one time where labels and artists were totally dependent on radio stations to get their music out there. Today, there are so many other avenues to get music out to the listener. You've got the web, and there's the various things that go on the internet as far as downloading goes. The day and age where radio broke a song is probably gone. What I have seen change in music more than anything is there is more music made to be heard on the radio than ever before. We used to call them radio hits, or songs that are radio friendly. Everybody wants to get on the radio, they want to get on shows, they want to be downloaded, they want to be purchased, so they heavily write their music for distribution. Oh man, when we hear the term DJ now, I think most of us kind of feel that it's misplaced. I mean, the term itself, disc jockey, refers to the time when the air talent was jockeying discs. I'll show you how it was done. You'd have a record playing, and you've got maybe a minute and a half left on that song. You know the next song you want to find. You'd have to get up and find it on a wall or in a drawer or wherever the music is kept. You find the song, you get the record off, you bring it down, you put it on the turntable, you get the needle, you put the needle on the edge of the record, you turn the pot, the potentiometer they call it, the pot, that it's going to be on into Q so you can hear it. You take your finger and you spin the disc until you hear sound. Then you go a half a turn back on the record. That gives you a small area for the record to get up to full 33 1/3 or 45 speed when it starts. If you don't, you'll get what we used to call was wow, which was where a song would start. You know how that? You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. You want it to start right on the note. So you'd get it, bring it back, get on the air, do your bit, hit it, it starts. As soon as that song starts, you're thinking about the next song, doing the same thing over and over. That means disc jockey. Now, there's none of that anymore at all. Basically most of the formats in the world, anywhere, are pre-produced, meaning that they're done by a programmer ahead of time. Like here on the Bear, we have this all put together a day ahead, and then it comes up and rolls by itself. Now that doesn't mean we can't change and alter and move, which we do all the time. But it's not like it was in the old days where you were actually a disc jockey. Oh, the most embarrassing thing. There are a number of things that have happened that have been embarrassing. It just depends upon the degree of the retribution and the effect of whatever happened. There have been the occasional, I call them the S-bomb. I've never dropped the F-bomb, but I've done the S-bomb before. As corny as this is going to sound, it is hokey, it is made up, and you're going to go, oh, yeah, right. No, what really is probably the most, in my mind, some of the most meaningful stuff that I get out of this business is when somebody tells me that something I said or an opinion I gave changed something about them. I had a guy not long ago who, I have a thing on the show where I call it Vaughn's parting shot, and one day I said, you know, make it a point tomorrow that whenever you're out doing your everyday stuff, that just find somebody and make their day. You know, help them open a door, help somebody carry groceries to the car, do something nice for somebody. Well, this guy did this and then wrote me a nice email explaining that I had basically made his day, that he had done this, and it had so filled him with joy and happiness that it's something he does every day now. And not long ago, I got another email from this guy saying, you know, listening to your show that day at 6:55 in the afternoon has changed my life. And that was pretty valuable in my book. There's 5 o'clock rush hour. That is our Bearathon. How about that? We rolled it all the way over 40 minutes, completely commercial free. Oh, and we do it every hour, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Bears 2 for Tuesday. We start at 10 tomorrow morning. Andrew in for the Mac, and the Bears roll all day long. Bears 2 for Tuesday tomorrow. I can't wait. It's all going down here all day on 104.7 The Bear.
Well, I started breakdancing back in 1983, and then the DJ that we had, one day I just went behind. I said, you know what? I think I could do that. I got the beat because I already knew what songs that I wanted to hear when I was breakdancing, and you know that he had to do the mix to it. So I pretty much knew exactly what I was looking for. Make a long story short, I started mixing beat to beat. He showed me just the basic, and after that, I was DJing a week after that. Well, one thing that's always been popular and it's still around is the EDM. The house music, that's been real big. I mean, since like back in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, and now it's just a resurgence of that. I'm from the original hip hop. I'm talking about the Houdinis and Grandmaster Flash, and you know, where it was just the DJ and one rapper. As to now, you know, you can't even tell who the rapper is because there's so many that's part of the entourage. But as far as music styles, there's been a big range, but it all goes in the same cycle. Like I said, now, you know, house is becoming real popular again, and now you have the R&B mixed with hip hop. As far as the equipment, you know, I've seen it all from the cassettes to the LPs to the CD players, and then now look at everything. It's MP3, and you got all these softwares that you work with. But you know, it's all good. Whatever makes the DJ work. A true DJ is somebody that can move the crowd. In other words, the highs and lows. Like, you know, what it is a flow. So for one night, you have that moment to make it memorable. You know, it could go both ways. It could be a bad memory for them, or it could be a good memory. So a DJ to me is somebody that just knows how to control the crowd and pretty much, you know, just move with it instead of against it. Because a lot of times you have somebody that'll come up and request a song, and it might not be exactly the same thing that's going on the dance floor, and it throws everything off, and then you have the domino effect. My best memory of DJing. You know, that's interesting because to me, every time that I do DJ, it's like the first time. Because I think if you think about what you did before, you're gonna try to rely on that. So every time, it's like a new experience. You know, I've been in it for 20 plus years, and I still get nervous, and it's that good nerves. So until I lose that nerve, I guess I'm gonna always feel like it's the first time. So I would say that the best experience is the experience that you do. No matter if it's the first time or the second time, third time, or whatever, it's every time you DJ. That should be the best experience. One of the most this is a good one too because it takes a long time to set up. So me and my partner at the time, we're taking time. We walk in, it's empty. They have a decorated table, and we're like, oh man, they went all the way out to set up the DJ. We set up all our stuff on top and all that, and the one that's the wedding coordinator comes in and says, there's y'all's table over there. And it was just by itself sitting up against the table. Two tables sitting up against the wall and not even unfolded. And they said, that's the wedding party's table. So we had to literally get everything reset up, and we had to do it like within 15 minutes. So that was probably one of the most embarrassing. Right here on the Hot 103.9 Afternoon Flavor Show, it's your boy DJ Sabor, the Fallstown Beat Rocker. Big shout out to DJ Boom. He's actually here doing a documentary, and you'll probably be seeing the project real soon. Hopefully he'll give me a copy of it.